Hello everyone, this is Advocate Dr. Sheetal Babat, and today we will be discussing about the most spoken, the most debatable topic of law of antidefection or law of defection. Schedule 10th of Indian Constitution elaborates and examines all of those provisions relating to this disqualification of members on ground of defection. Before we go into the details of the entirety of 10th schedule, we need to understand two articles, Article 102, Clause 2 of Indian Constitution, as well as Article 191, Clause 2 of Indian Constitution. The entire 10th schedule revolves around these two articles for a reason. Now, what are these two articles before we understand 10th schedule? Article 102, Clause 2 of Indian Constitution states, a person shall be disqualified for being a member of either house of a parliament if he is so disqualified under 10th schedule. So here 102 subclause 2 talks about a member of either house of parliament. And in context to these members or this member, the grounds for disqualification mentioned in 10th schedule. Secondly, 191 clause 2, it talks about a person who shall be disqualified for being a member of legislative assembly or legislative council of state if he is so disqualified under 10th schedule of Indian Constitution. So for getting disqualified on the ground of defection, this person should get fitted first under Article 102 subclause 2 and secondly or respectively under Article 191 subclause 2. So this is where we need to understand the applicability of 10th schedule. I mean here, who are those persons who or to whom 10th schedule is applicable? There are three categories which have been, in fact, there are four categories, but then I guess three categories are significant to be discussed here. First category is any person who is a member of either house of parliament. So first is either house of parliament or legislative assembly, and thirdly, either house of legislature of a state. So house of parliament, member of house of parliament, or member of legislative assembly, or either house of legislature of respective state. The 10th schedule is applicable to only these three categories. Now let us understand what does 10th schedule, which has been added by the Constitution 52nd Amendment Act 1985 to the Indian Constitution talks about. What are those grounds which are applicable to these members, these category of members on the ground of or disqualification on the ground of defection? So firstly, it says a member of a house belonging to any political party shall be disqualified for being a member of house in two situations. First situation is if he himself or she herself voluntarily gives up his or her membership of such political party. So voluntariness is the essence of paragraph 2, subparagraph 1 and clause A of the very first ground of defection. So if he or she voluntarily gives up his or her membership. Secondly, if he votes, now these are the wordings, she is not the word, but just to understand the gender unbiasedness basically. So if he or she votes or abstains from voting in such house contrary to any direction which is issued by that political party to which he or she belongs, or direction issued by any person who is authorized by the political party on that behalf, right? So first ground is voluntarily giving up the membership, and second ground is for the reason of voting against the direction issued by the political party, or abstaining from voting contrary to the direction issued by the political party. However, this can be a disqualification only if there is no prior permission of such political party is obtained. So if in case a person gives an explanation or has an explanation with regards to his voting against the directions issued by the political party and which are reasonable, which has to be reasonable, or he or she abstains from voting with a prior permission, with an explanation or maybe a reasoning to such political party, then this can be condoned. However, for this particular provision, there is an explanation under 10th schedule. It says who belongs to a political party, who can be understood as a person or a member belonging to a particular party, who is member of the house. It gives us an interpretation as an elected member of a house shall be deemed to belong to a political party by which he was set up as a candidate for election. So if a person is candidate for a particular election, he shall be deemed to belong to a political party through which his candidature was set up. Secondly, a nominated member of the house, because not all of them are elected, but there are nominated members of the house as well. So where he is a member of a political party on the date of his nomination as such member, then he shall belong to such political party. And in any another case, a person is deemed to belong to a political party of which he or she becomes a member before expiry of 6 months from the date on which he takes his seat, of course, after complying with requirements of certain requisites mentioned under provisions of Indian Constitution. To very specifically mention those, Article 99 and Article 188, but that is something which is not a part of discussion for today, so we will avoid talking about these two articles. So now we understood there are members elected and there are members nominated, which comes under these respective three categories which we already discussed. So House of Parliament, Legislative Assembly, Legislative Council of respective states, we have two subcategories. One is elected member of respective categories, as well as secondly, we talk about members who are nominated. And concerning these categories and subcategories, now we decide whether a person who is a member of any of these categories belong to a political party, whether he be nominated or he be elected. Next to understand is, now we are quite clear with to whom 10th schedule is applicable. We then discussed about the subcategories of persons to whom this is applicable. Now, most importantly, we need to understand disqualification on ground of defection not to apply in case of merger. This is little interesting paragraph of 10th schedule, which is 4th paragraph of 10th schedule. It says a member of a house shall not be disqualified, and paragraph 1 of paragraph 2. So what is paragraph 1 of paragraph 2? It talks about disqualification on ground of defection. So when a person voluntarily gives up or he abstains or he votes against the directions of the respective party, then he will be disqualified. But there is an exception for this disqualification. It says, although there is a mention of disqualification under paragraph 1 of paragraph 2, a member of house shall not be considered to be disqualified where his original party merges with another political party and he claims that he and any other members of his original party have become members of such other political party, or as the case may be, of a new political party formed by such merger. Also, a member of house shall not be disqualified where his original party merges with another political party and he claims that he and other members of the original party have not accepted the merger and opted to function as a separate group. Now, this is something which I feel is important. Paragraph 4, especially first para of paragraph 4 and sub paragraph B of paragraph 4(1) gives us one more additional element, that only merger is not an exception for disqualification on ground of defection, but it is also if the members, majority of members, if they do not, that is 2/3 of the members, we will be coming on to that point as well, but majority of the member of the house or members of the house have not accepted this merger but have opted to function separately or as a separate group. So this is important. No mergers but separate group is also exception to disqualification. And from the time of such merger, such other political party or a new political party or a group, so not in case of merger but a separate group as the case may be, shall be deemed to be the political party to which this member belongs for the purpose of paragraph 1 of paragraph 2. So what is going to be his original political party? Either the party which is merged with some other party and new political party has come up, or a new group of members, majority of the members of course of the original political party have started functioning by their own. So what is important here to understand is merger, yes, always is an exception for these members not to get disqualified. But another thing is, if they can, they have this majority which is mentioned in further provision that there has to be a majority not less than 2/3 members of the legislature party concerned. If they do not agree on merger, they can agree upon functioning as a new political party or mere new political group. So, for getting disqualified, the very exception are these two. Moving on to the next question. Who will decide on question of disqualification on ground of defection? A little biasness we could see, as per me at least, my opinion if you ask, we little bias while it comes to paragraph 6 of 10th schedule, which talks about decisions on question as to disqualification on ground of defection. If any question arises as to whether a member of a house has become subject to disqualification under the schedule, the question shall be referred for the decision of the chairman, or as the case may be, the speaker of such house, and his decision shall be final. But there is one more proviso, explanation, which talks to paragraph 6, subparagraph 1. It says, provided that where a question which has been arisen is as to whether the chairman or speaker of a house has become subject to such disqualification, the question shall be referred for the decision of such member of the house as the house may elect in this behalf, and his decision shall be final. So, if in case there is any proceeding pending, or if in case there is any procedure which has taken place for disqualification of the chairman or the speaker himself, then this question shall be referred for the decision of such member as the house may elect in that behalf. So the house, respective house, do have discretionary powers or powers. The house respective is empowered to elect some new person on that behalf to decide the disqualification in case if the speaker himself or the chairman himself is subject to the disqualification. So what do we understand from this is, firstly, to conclude the whole 10th schedule. Firstly, this is applicable to three categories: member of House of Parliament, member of legislature, legislative assembly rather, and member of legislative council of the state. There are two subcategories of these three categories. What are those two subcategories? First subcategory is about the member who is elected member of the respective house, and secondly, the one who is nominated by any political party. What are disqualifying grounds for defection? If the person voluntarily gives up his membership, or secondly, if he votes or abstains from voting in the contrary to any direction issued by the political party to which he belongs as a member. Thirdly, to whom these questions shall be deemed to uh, consider. Who is the decision making, or who is the final authority to decide upon such questions? So it is chairman or speaker of such house, and his decision shall be final. However, we have adequate case laws which says even if this is a final decision of the speaker or of the chairman of the respective house, there definitely is a provision under various landmark judgments that this decision shall definitely be taken up to the higher judiciary in front of honorable courts to get the final decision, as this being a little biased provision under 10th schedule. Also, there are exemptions where the member can get exempted from being disqualified on the ground of defection. Firstly, if 2/3 of the members of a regional political party gets severed or splitted from the original political party. Secondly, if this political party merges with some another party. And thirdly, if 2/3 members do not accept the merger and they opt to function as a separate group, in that case, we say none of the members shall be disqualified on the ground of defection. So this is all from my side to all of y'all to understand what is law of defection under 10th schedule. Thank you so much.